we have with us Dr. Ganasan from Takshshela Junior College from Ujjain. It's a pleasure having you here today. So to begin with, what do you think of the current education scenario in the country? It has become a lot more dynamic with technology coming and lots of innovations happening. So what do you think of this current scenario that we are in?
I think if you look at technology, I think we have made headway in terms of technology. 20 years ago, you don't find parents telling that there is a lot of competition in the country at school level when they go in for competitive exams like medical or engineering. The reason was when education started in India, after the British left, we took over the education system. We were only concentrating on one aspect. We have children who are actually of three different categories. You have the auditory learners, you have the visual learners, you have the kinesthetic learners. We were initially concentrating only on the concept of auditory learners, people who can hear, they understand what's happening in the class, and they were the toppers in the class. Because we were not concentrating on the other group of learners. 20 years down the line came audio-visual aids. You had the TV coming in, you had the video systems coming in, right? So the visual learners started improving because they were able to see, they were able to understand. It's like watching a movie and then you understand and remember it for life. Like Cllege is remembered by our great-grandparents even till today. That's because they understood things by visualizing. So the first batch of people who were leading the country were the auditory learners. Then came the visual learners. The competition level now came in because there were two groups of people now competing for space. Then following that, later we realized that there are other students who don't belong to this two categories. They are called as the kinesthetic learners, who understand things by play, activity, dramatization, case studies and things like that. So this came in very recently, the kinesthetic group, in the last 5 years or so, where schools started having activities, plays, role plays, dramatization, doing things on the ground, you know. So now we have a competition level which has come to a very high status. Now all this is nothing but due to what we call this technology. Now along this space of time came the digital learning concept. So when digital learning actually came into space, the visual learners became the next level. Auditory learners also started coming because they are able to hear, they are able to see, they are able to understand things in a better manner. And the kinesthetic learners, they also are. Now this part of the auditory, the visual and the kinesthetic is more significant to the first generation learners. Particularly today we are having inclusive education, having village children where we have to accommodate. For these children, these two aspects, the kinesthetic and visual, plays a vital role. Auditory doesn't play a vital role because they have a language problem. So now, the fourth part of the aspect is we have started concentrating on communication. We have started concentrating on numeracy and language. Without numeracy and language, the child doesn't understand anything. 2005, the Supreme Court passed an order that we should only teach Hindi, English and mathematics. If you go back into what's happening in the country today, you don't find this implemented in the schools. We are still burdening the child with moral science, with social science, with craft. They are not ready for it at this age. Now this becomes a very, very significant problem. By the time they come to class 3, class 4, they are fed up of school because they have already burdened them. But if you follow the education norms as per the standards of the government, English, Hindi, Maths, this is the future for them. They have to know the mother tongue, they have to know mathematics because it's that which dies with them, with birth and death. And language, the third language, the second language, and international way because they have to communicate. Now if you look at today's world, India is one of the having the youngest generation. 2025 we are going to be the employable population in the world. Where is the space in this country to accommodate them? We don't have industries, we don't have processing sector, we are not concentrating on agriculture. Who is going to give them employment? We have to develop communication because today's generation have to be prepared for the global structure. We cannot prepare them from the Indian context anymore. We got to modify our curriculum from the international context. If they go to America, they should have the know-how of what's happening in America. They go to Australia, they should know what's happening in Australia. They want to go to Europe, they should know what's happening in Europe. So here technology comes in, the digitization, the different concepts that can be applied. Like if you take our school, we have a VSAT system with Everon Chennai. The program started about 3 years ago. In between there was a bandwidth problem and so the program stopped. Chennai, the classes take place in the studio. Our students study it from Ujjain in Madhya Pradesh through the system. So that's the power VSAT can do. But is the government actually looking at this, that we can transform villages into educational centers? We are talking about technology, we are talking about digitization. Can it be done? Yes, it can be done. Why spend money for unnecessary things? Spend money for VSAT so that the villages can come in contact. You cannot have power in the village. You don't have telephone communication. The only thing is satellite communication. And VSAT can solve the problem of millions of lives in this country, the next generation that is going to come.
So to take that point forward, we have been using technology in everyday teaching learning process in school, but where do we stand with the other countries?
As far as the teaching learning process is concerned, if you talk about smart class, I think almost every school in the city area does have. We do have problems in the village sector. We do have. But the question is, have we trained the teachers how to use these tools in the classroom? The teachers are not trained. They switch it on and say, okay, this is it, listen to it, and the teachers walk out of the class. Is the management looking at it? Are the principals looking at it? Or is the system asking questions? So the teacher has to understand which areas we have to stop and discuss. That is not taught to the teacher. At the end of the smart class program, they said, okay, these are the questions appearing, let's go through it. They have a tab in most of the modern schools, they answer the questions and that's over. Participation of the child, involvement of the child in the classroom is very, very significant. And without the teacher, this cannot take place. Now, but with the smart classes coming in, teachers are not preparing for class. It's like putting a cash in the bank, depositing money in the bank. You reach a particular level, you start drawing money out of the bank. At a particular stage, your bank account is empty. That's what has happened to teachers currently. They are not reading, they are not preparing for class. They know that the school has provided all the contents in the smart class.
So what's the solution to tackle such a problem?
We have to actually train the teachers how to utilize these tools. It's a tool.
Yeah.
It's not going to replace the teacher, it's a tool. The teacher has to understand how to utilize in the classroom, how to get children involved. That is one aspect that we have to actually look into. The other aspect is, can you train the children to do online examinations? And again, in online examinations, we want to actually see whether the teacher has performed in the classroom. Don't allow your teachers to prepare the questions. Let the chapter be over. Ask somebody else to prepare the questions. Now when you do that, and give the questions online. Nowadays the teachers get the question papers. You have tuitions which are a massive problem. Children who are going for tuitions get the questions. It spreads out. They write an exam. We are in a country where we are only looking at the results. My school got 100%. That's all. We are not looking at the processes, whether the child is competent in what is being taught. If I have taught a chapter on light, is the child competent to understand what is the importance of light, what is the value of light? The child is not competent. The child has simply read the contents, did the homework, did the few questions, written the test, and is promoted to the next class. Is the child competent to understand the value of it? Our engineers, our doctors are not competent. They become competent after getting into the market. Till that time, they are not competent. Our evaluation system is basically wrong. So what basically happens is the teacher knows that at the end of the day, we are only bothered about the result. We are not taking care of the processes. If we take care of the processes, automatically the results will come. And schools are very interested only in results. So with CCE is a huge issue. A lot of table work is taking place in schools. Teachers don't know what CCE is. People don't know what is assessment and evaluation within the classroom. And on top of it, if you look at CCE, it is continuous comprehensive evaluation. Evaluation that has to take place throughout the year, right? And at the same time, CBSE brought in the concept of CC, fine. At the same time, we have not made amendments in the bylaws. The examination bylaws state that 75% attendance is compulsory, right? So we have students in 9th and 10th today knowing very well there is no exam.
Yeah.
After finishing the 75%, they disappear. They don't come to school. When we question the parents, they said my child is preparing for engineering and medical in a coaching center. And we said, what about the attendance? He said 75% is completed. Why we should bother? So when you are having continuous comprehensive evaluation, you should have 100% because it's a semester system. You cannot use the concept of 75% applicable in 9th and 10th today because you have modified the system. But we have not modified the bylaws.
Right.
So we are wrong in what we are doing. We are not analyzing something. Like I said, we are only interested in results.
Right.
So the processes are what is to be taken care of. Now the other aspect, if you look at it, parents are only interested in science and mathematics, engineering, medical, then comes CA, law. What is the percentage of students that actually go into this sector? 7 to 12%. If a school has 100 students, 12 of them are going into these sectors, that is engineering, law, medical, and your C or CS. Nobody is bothered about what's happening to the 85% of the population. We are having social problems today in the country, we are having unemployment in the country, simply because if you take the concept of degree colleges, BSc, BCom, BA, then we go for MA.
So just to conclude the entire, sorry to interrupt, but just to conclude the entire conversation, probably a lot needs to be
done
in terms of effective
There is
implementation
no correlation.
of IT policies.
There is no correlation between what's happening at school level and what's happening in degree level or in higher education. So skill education has to come into class 9th onwards so that children have a pathway because we have to target the 85% population. And in these skills, technology can be utilized to a very high extent where we are sleeping over it.
Alright.
So this is one aspect, 9 to 12, if you can teach them skill, actually, they will have a pathway, the 85% of the children, these are the future. They are going to run this nation, not the 12%.
Correct.
And if you are going to concentrate on 12%, I will again give you an example. If you take medical and engineering, even if the child gets 40% marks, the parent is ready to pay 50 lakhs donation to get a medical seat. Why should we invest so much on science education when parents are mad over it and ready to do anything at any cost to get a seat? And nobody is bothered about 85%. Let's guide the 85%. Let's give them a pathway.
Alright, sir.
So that's what we are doing.
Yeah, need is for effective implementation of policies and change of mindset.
Yeah, that's what
Alright, sir. Thank you. It was a pleasure having you. Thank you.